Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. The seventh word from the cross is not spoken in anguish or confusion, but in serene confidence and perfect trust. As Jesus breathes his last, he does not protest, resist, or cling to life. Instead, he freely places his spirit into the hands of the Father. This final word reveals the deepest meaning of freedom, not the ability to escape suffering, but the power to surrender oneself completely to God in love. Christ's death is not forced upon him. It is an act of sovereign self-gift. In this moment, the cross becomes the supreme revelation of eternal freedom. In Fulton Sheen's time, the world was emerging from the devastation of World War II. Nations were rebuilding, yet hearts were heavy with grief, fear, and uncertainty. Millions questioned whether life still had meaning after such widespread destruction. Today, while the forms of suffering differ, the underlying anxiety remains. Modern society seeks freedom through control, independence, and self-definition, yet often finds itself restless and afraid. The seventh word challenges every age by redefining freedom not as self-assertion, but as trustful surrender to God. True freedom, Sheen explains, is not found in clinging to one's will at all costs. Christ's final words demonstrate that freedom reaches its highest expression when the human will aligns itself with the divine will. Jesus does not lose himself by surrendering. He fulfills himself. The cross reveals that surrender to God is not a negation of freedom, but its perfection. When the soul entrusts itself to God, it is released from the tyranny of fear, pride, and self-reliance. During Sheen's era, existentialist philosophy gained popularity, teaching that human freedom consists in radical independence and self-creation apart from God. This worldview promised liberation, but often led to despair. Today, a similar mindset persists in the belief that personal truth and autonomy are the highest goods. Yet this form of freedom, detached from objective truth, frequently results in confusion and fragmentation. The seventh word reminds us that freedom without truth is an illusion, and that authentic freedom is found only in relationship with the Creator. Christ's words from the cross also transform the meaning of death itself. Jesus does not approach death with terror or resistance. He approaches it as an act of trust. By commending his spirit to the Father, he turns death from a moment of fear into a passage of hope. Death becomes not the end of existence, but the doorway to eternal life. Trust replaces fear because it rests in the certainty of divine love. In Sheen's time, the threat of nuclear war haunted the world. The possibility of sudden annihilation made death a constant and terrifying presence. Today, fear takes different forms: fear of illness, aging, isolation, and loss of control. Many attempt to avoid the reality of death through distraction, entertainment, or denial. Yet, the seventh word teaches that peace in the face of death comes not from avoidance, but from trust. Only when the soul is anchored in God can death be faced without despair. Sheen contrasts eternal freedom with the false freedoms promised by the world. Earthly freedom is often defined as the ability to do whatever one desires, whenever one desires it. Yet this kind of freedom frequently leads to slavery, to sin, to pleasure, to pride, or to fear. The cross exposes the emptiness of freedom divorced from truth and goodness. Christ, stripped of all earthly power, reveals that real freedom does not depend on circumstances, possessions, or control. In the mid-20th century, consumerism and material success were increasingly seen as signs of happiness and liberation. Today, material excess has been replaced or supplemented by digital dependence, constant connectivity, and social validation. Though the forms have changed, the chains remain. The seventh word calls believers to examine what they truly serve and whether their idea of freedom leads to peace or bondage. Obedience, in Sheen's vision, is not the enemy of freedom, but its highest expression. Christ's obedience to the Father is entirely voluntary and rooted in love. He is not compelled, he chooses. This loving obedience does not diminish his dignity, but reveals it. Freedom grows when the will chooses what is good, true, and loving. In obeying the Father unto death, Christ demonstrates the full maturity of human freedom. Sheen lived in a time when authority in religious and social institutions was increasingly questioned. Today, resistance to authority is widespread and often reflexive. Ironically, many who reject moral or spiritual authority willingly submit to cultural trends, public opinion, and digital algorithms. The cross reminds us that true freedom does not mean the absence of authority, but the right relationship to it, one grounded in love and truth. The seventh word also contrasts eternal freedom with humanity's desire for temporal control. Jesus relinquishes control over his body while securing eternal freedom for the soul. In doing so, he teaches that life is not lost when it is given to God. During Sheen's lifetime, rapid technological progress fostered confidence in humanity's ability to master nature and shape its own destiny. Today, advances in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and self-optimization promise even greater control. Yet none of these can satisfy the soul's deepest longing for meaning, love, and eternity. The cross stands as the gateway to resurrection. The seventh word is not a conclusion of defeat, but a transition from suffering to glory. Christ's surrender leads directly to victory. Death does not have the final word. Love does. Eternal freedom is secured through faithful surrender, and resurrection follows obedience. After the devastation of global war, many in Sheen's time wondered whether hope was still possible. Today, cultural pessimism and cynicism often undermine hope as well. Yet the resurrection remains the foundation of Christian confidence. Because Christ entrusted himself to the Father, believers can do the same, knowing that surrender leads not to annihilation, but to new life. The seventh word offers practical lessons for Christian living. Eternal freedom is not achieved in a single moment, but practiced daily through small acts of surrender. Trusting God in suffering prepares the soul to face death without fear. Each act of faith, obedience, and love becomes a rehearsal for that final commendation of the Spirit into God's hands. The Christian life, at its core, is a continual act of entrustment. In Sheen's era, spiritual discipline, prayer, and sacramental life were emphasized as anchors of freedom. Today, many seek peace through mindfulness, wellness practices, or self-care routines. While these reflect a genuine desire for interior calm, they lack the depth and permanence that come from surrender to God. True peace arises not from controlling one's life perfectly, but from giving it entirely to the Father. The seventh word from the cross reveals the final victory of love. Christ shows that love, freely given, cannot be conquered by suffering or death. Eternal freedom is not achieved by grasping, resisting, or asserting oneself against God, but by offering oneself completely to Him. In this final breath, the cross becomes the ultimate proclamation that true freedom is found in God alone, and that in surrender, the soul finds everlasting life. It's time for the conversation that ties it all together. If you're in a group, now's the perfect time to grab your review questions and jump right into some awesome discussion. Share your thoughts, ask questions, and let's see what wisdom everyone brings to the table. The real magic happens when we learn from each other.